Well guys, back with another video today obviously, and well, summer gets close to a close and I wait on my stepmom to finish watching the MCU films with me, all in order. I figured to go ahead and do a different Marvel ranking since that one X-Men movie came out and no one really liked it and I didn't really like it. I figured it might as well be time for me to do a complete ranking of all the films, starting from the worst to the best. So, here we go. Coming in at number 12, I think we can all agree on which is the worst film here. X-Men Origins Wolverine. A film that was meant to start a new line in the franchise known as The Origins, which, by the way, this was the only one because this one failed dramatically. So yeah, they never made any more. There were talks about doing a X-Men Origins Magneto. That never happened. That was turned into X-Men First Class, which you will be very surprised on where that is on the list. But yeah, this is just kind of a stupid, bland, uneventful action film that you think when you go to rewatch it might have some things redeemable. Like, it may just have like, oh, this scene was awesome and this. No. They're kind of just very stupidly laughable. The effects in this are atrocious. Every idea they ever think of for this film is just bleh. Just the idea of Deadpool with his mouth sewed shut, bad. The idea of just showing all of his war events and not being able to see it throughout the entire movie, bad. Just, the idea of how Wolverine gets his jacket, a motorcycle, his claws, it's just all done bad. Just bad ideas all around. Just the mutant people in this movie, like a guy that controls electricity, the guy that can shoot guns, the Blob, just Sabretooth. It is all just bad. I recommend you definitely not watch this film and the other three that I have coming after this, 12 through 8. I recommend that you do not watch any of these, okay? Just skip them. They're bad. Moving on. Number 11. One that I almost wanted to rank at the bottom, but I think had some redeemable qualities with Quicksilver in it, obviously. And that is X-Men Apocalypse. X-Men Apocalypse. Where do I go with this one? Just your bland, non-eventful, average, stupid, run-of-the-mill movie, I guess. Just X-Men movie. It does some stuff good, like the origins of Jean, Summers, Cyclops, Storm. Well, no, actually, no. Well, I guess what it does good is being a continuation of the First Class films. So that it does good. And the Quicksilver scenes are always awesome, like I say. But other than that, all the characters like Storm, Angel, Psylocke, those villains, the heroes, like Nightcrawler, their comic book origins don't feel right here. It's all out of wax. Nothing makes sense. Jean... Oh my god, and I think the reason why I definitely have this one below my next one, which is Dark Phoenix, spoiler, but is because they do this thing to make money off of Jennifer Lawrence, because she's such an important character as Mystique. I hate it so much. But like I said, there's that Quicksilver scene, that's fun, that's awesome. The Apocalypse is just bland, stupid. I actually think that the aliens in Dark Phoenix are actually more entertaining. It just, in a way, that they almost feel like the evil Skrull that we wanted in Captain Marvel. So yeah, any of the other characters just seem bland, stupid, boring. Motivations are off here. Nothing makes sense. I think something that I'm kind of mixed about is, like, is Magneto in this film, because this is some of the best stuff we've seen with Magneto in this film, and that I will always say that. But I wish that could be in like his own film. They use that as just a way to get him back into the film to make him evil, because we always have to make him evil. It just, it drives me wild. It makes me mad. It makes me so mad that they use that plot line as a way to just make it evil, because it stands good on its own. But when you put it in with everything else, it's just stupid. Also, the Wolverine stuff's just thrown in there. Everything's just combobbled about. Nothing makes sense. It's all just bad. Okay, yeah, moving on. Number 10. A movie that I thought was better than the last, for a couple reasons, I will say. X-Men Dark Phoenix. Now, reason why I thought that this movie was better than the other is that I think it does its storyline with a bit more justice. The Apocalypse storyline felt stupid and hammered in. Weird. But I think that the Dark Phoenix storyline here is definitely done better than what we get in, like, The Last Stand. Jean Grey, I love her as a character in this. The actress, Sophie Turner, that plays her, does a wonderful job portraying this character of emotions and wits and stuff, and you don't want to see her die. You want her to see everything go right, but that's not what happens in the end. The problem with this movie that I feel like is that motivations are off. There's no point for Magneto to be in this at all than just to make money off of Michael Fassbender. The aliens, like I said, they're stupid, and I don't really like them, the Davari, but they're more interesting because they're like the evil Skrull we want to see in the MCU. So yeah, they're a little bit more interesting than Apocalypse, just because I think that I just like sometimes having just an evil villain that just does evil things, so that's sometimes fun. Another thing is Mystique gets killed off. Spoiler, by the way, sorry about that, but I mean, we all kind of saw it coming. I mean, come on, from the trailers. She dies. I'm so happy. I did not want her around. Jennifer Lawrence, her ego just seems like it's getting up into the Tom Cruise of egos, okay? But other than that, I thought some other characters were great. I thought Hank, Beast, I thought he was pretty good in this. I thought his motivations did feel right, even though it kind of felt like, actually, yeah, all motivations seem off. Charles Xavier does stuff that almost seems maniacal and just evil, even more so than it was in The Last Stand. Because at least there you still have Patrick Stewart, but coming off of movies like Glass and Split, James McAvoy just feels like an evil little prick in this movie, almost, to a certain extent. Also, I think the action is better paced in this film than in the last three films. It's like, it's what makes you want to come back for more. Although still bad, yeah, no, it just kind of makes you want to come back for that more. So yeah, Origins, Last Stand. I mean, Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix. Okay, number 9, a movie that is still bad, but I think is better than these because, in a way, it's just laughably bad. It's got a good bit of entertainment value to it. There's a lot of stuff from the comics just thrown into this that just makes it fun. X-Men The Last Stand. I think Wolverine is at his best in this movie, portrayed by, Hugh Jackman. I think all the characters at their best. Rogue, Iceman, even Cyclops. Even Colossus in this film. I kind of feel like they have more stuff to do. Beast, oh my god, played by Kelsey Grammer. That guy is amazing. This film is perfect. That was perfect casting by Beast, by the way. There's a lot of moments that, take the X-Men, mythology and stuff. I know that everyone hates it. I'm the Juggernaut! But, I actually thought that who played him and stuff was actually a pretty good character in the movie, and I thought that looked pretty good. We obviously have, and a lot of that is good. There's a lot of action from Magneto. There's a lot of moments where, after Mystique is no longer a mutant, there's, that moment in which, he leaves her, and yet he doesn't want to, but yet he's sticking true to his beliefs. There's a moment like that, and none of it goes together. But it makes for a bunch of good moments and scenes in a bad movie, because the Jean Grey subplot in this one, I will say, like I said, Dark Phoenix does it better in a bad movie. This is a bad movie that does not do that thing well. I think it does. I think the Cure plot line from Joss Whedon is done pretty great in this movie, but there's just too much stuff going on. Scott Summers' death is shrugged off like, yeah, that guy existed, I guess. Professor X dies, which actually does feel emotional. I do like that death. But I think his death is definitely better than Logan, just saying, yeah. But yeah, a bad movie with some good stuff in it that makes it almost watchable, but yet I don't recommend you watch it still even. So yeah. Going into my next film, which is number 8, are all movies that I recommend you watch them, obviously. Well, 8 through 6 are all movies that I recommend you watch, but on your own terms. The first 5, my 1 through 5 picks, you obviously have to watch them. Those are my choice. Those are what I definitely recommend to you. But these other ones, you can watch them on your own merits. Your choice, obviously. Obviously, this is all my own opinion, by the way. I guess I should have mentioned that before just getting into it. But coming in at number 8, I want to put this movie higher, but it's just sort of a bland, generic movie that's only made better by Logan. So yeah. Coming in at number 8 is The Wolverine. The first 2 halves of this movie are really great. They got some of that, like, The Last Samurai action going in. They got some good Wolverine action. Some of his emotional stuff is great in this film. And, there's a little bit of a mixed bag of things. Like, some of the comic book's origins are mixed around, but it's an adaptation, so you gotta go with it. And, that train scene and everything, I guess I can only say bad about the first 2 acts is that it's kind of slow moving, but it still feels pretty great. It's like a Wolverine movie that you want, and plus it's making up for X-Men Origins, so you're kind of liking it. But then that final act, with him getting his metal claws chopped off and getting the bones, and that weird twist reveal that I still think is the most stupid twist ever in a comic book movie. There is no need for that. Like, we know what it was going to be. It just, oh my god. We knew that he was alive the entire time, and yet just nothing. Oh, man. I heard that there was, like, a scene cut from an unrated movie about, like, him fighting a bunch of ninjas, which you have to watch. Which I honestly do want to watch. I haven't seen that, so I can't recommend that, but just... But yeah, but by the end of it, you're like, you just want to be done with this, and you just want to throw yourself out a window because of how stupid and comic booky it gets. And just how much it doesn't mesh with the other stuff. I think the Viper Woman in this movie is actually a pretty good villain for what she is. Just an evil, toxic woman. Pun intended, by the way. But yeah, they ruined the Silver Samurai the same way they ruined Deadpool in this movie. So yeah, I recommend that you watch it on your own merits. Moving on to my number 7. A lot of you are not gonna like this, but I'm pretty sure that, man, this is probably, going against, like, other people's thoughts on this, but you can't deny that it is a low ranking, because I think number 7 is a pretty good middle of the road ranking, but Deadpool 2. I don't hate this film. I really like this film. Like I said, I probably, out of 8 through 6, I probably recommend this one the most. Some of the funny stuff that I look back on it, well, no. Okay, after Deadpool 1 being such a good hit, how are they going to make Deadpool 2 better? Obviously, let's go the route of, like, an Avengers sequel, Let's just do the same thing, but just make it bigger, louder, and more fun. With a bunch of different plot lines just getting thrown about and stuff. And that's fun because, it's Deadpool, and it's not, like, stupid Hellboy or whatever. you know, and you're cool with that because it's Ryan Reynolds throwing jokes, stuff. I don't know, but you're along for the ride and you're enjoying it. But then at a point, the laughs just almost feel hammered in. The heartfelt moments, while good heartfelt moments, don't feel Deadpool to me. Like, that does not feel like Deadpool. That just, some people might like that aspect of the movies, that they're different from the comics, where Deadpool actually has a heart and emotions and stuff. I don't really like it. I mean, I don't think it's bad. It's good when it's it's good when it works on its own. But like, you know, you throw in like jokes about Cable being Thanos, and it just doesn't work for me. Still a good movie. I still definitely recommend this. I laughed my butt off, and this is like the last film I watched before doing this ranking. I laughed my ass off, man. But yeah, definitely watch it on your own merits. You might like it. You might think that it's stupid and that you don't like it, but your choice. So yeah. Coming in at number 6, a movie that started it all, and along with Spider-Man 2 and Blade, helped kind of pretty much start everything that we know nowadays. X-Men. This movie is a good movie, I feel like. I feel like it's a good X-Men movie. All the characters are set in stone. They have their individual things. The story and the world is built great. Magneto with his gun thing pointing at you like, you know, that's awesome. There's so much great scenes. The Liberty fight, I think, is an underrated scene with like Mystique and all the other characters fighting. I think it's so underrated, and yet Sabretooth versus Wolverine, I think it's all kind of underrated. The movie also kind of feels outdated in a way, because it's like 2000. The effects in CGI aren't good. They're at least better than X-Men Origins. But, you know, they're still not good. They don't hold up today. But I still definitely would kind of recommend this movie. I don't know. You watch it on your own merits. The plot line about Magneto trying to make other humans into mutants is definitely one of the more stupider ones that I've heard of, but it kind of almost feels like something Magneto would do in the comics, so I don't know. But yeah, like I said, Rogue, Iceman, all these characters start out in this film, and we're able to build and learn about everything, and Patrick Stewart as Professor X and Ian McKellen as Magneto is just perfect casting. This movie has perfect casting, just like Spider-Man and Blade. Well, I guess not Blade, but I mean, just like Spider-Man, just like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. And, you know, it's the first film, so you have to watch it in the franchise. You know, it's not like any art worthy, but I think they made a pretty good film with this. So yeah, number 6. Going into my top 5, these are all movies that I think are good and great, and definitely I would recommend you watch completely, okay? I recommend all 5 of these. Number 5, X2, X-Men United. Definitely a stupid title because they have X-Men twice in the title. That makes no sense. Just call it X-Men 2 United. Wait, what? I don't know. Anyways, this movie, I think, builds on the first one by giving us a better plot, by making our heroes and our villains have to join forces against an enemy of like Stryker, which is an enemy of Wolverine, which helps build on that event, which helps build on his origins and his characters. There's a lot more action and quick pace stuff. They take the first film and they build upon it. You know, they do some different stuff. Like they go kind of darker with this one, you know. And it just makes for a fun, enjoyable time. There's like so many different mutants around. We finally get Nightcrawler in this one, and his debut's great. Sad that he wasn't in The Last Stand. Anyways. But, you know, he debuts great in this, and I mean, Storm, Jean, all the characters leading up to The Last Stand, obviously. they're just all great. Cyclops is actually kind of out of this movie for a while, weirdly. I don't know why. The film just doesn't seem to care for him. Give all the screen time to Wolverine. I think the plot line with, like, mutants, with, like, the human trying to kill the mutants, and then when Magneto gets his chance, he's trying to kill the humans. And I think it's just all great. It's definitely a better plot line. It's more consistent. It's more grounded in reality than the first film. Still having some of that awesome Wolverine action, along with some other action stuff. So yeah, just a lot of great moments. So yeah, number 5. Number 4. You're not gonna like this, but Deadpool. Yeah, okay, look, fine. I'm sorry that I did not rank him number 1, okay? Jeez. Calm your little butts, okay? As an X-Men movie, yeah, you got some X-Men here and there, but it's a Deadpool movie, not an X-Men movie. And that's what I love about it. It's just so great. Like, you have this plot, like, it's just one plot line about a revenge story about a guy trying to get his girlfriend back and save her and fixing what he's done and making things right. But they do that with Ryan Reynolds saying curse words and some of the most funniest jokes I think I've ever heard on screen. And it is just fun. It's great. It's fantastic. It's definitely better than some of the first X-Men films, where I think Part 2 is definitely not. Sorry. But yeah, what more can I say about this? It's Deadpool. I mean, he's just, bad Deadpool. Good Deadpool. Just a lot of those things, Colossus and his jokes, and just the fourth wall breaking, man. It's just, they told a simple story, yet they told it so well and so right, with so much passion put to the film, that it's definitely was deserving of what it was. It's definitely deserved what it got, So yeah, number 4. Number 5. Wait, what? No, I'm an idiot. Number 3. Another X-Men movie that I think is definitely really good. X-Men Days of Future Past. Now, before we get into some of the good, I think one of the bads that I have to point out is probably the time travel aspect. That is just... It's not bad, but it's just... It kind of just feels like the film's lazy and kind of hammered in with that stuff. But obviously, in this film, a good thing about the film is this storyline about having to go back in the past and change stuff that happened, that's going to happen. The Sentinels are pretty great in this one, I think, in my opinion. Not the best, because, I mean, obviously, they're better looking in the comics. But I think they're done pretty good here. The idea, I mean, well... I don't really know how to talk about this film. I just think it was pretty good. I think... I love Mystique's character in this. I love Charles' character in this. I think all the characters are done great. I think even Professor X and what he's going through and how he overcomes that to help the others get through what they do is pretty great. I think Wolverine's story is still pretty good, even though we're not following along with that, yeah. I would have liked to have seen more of, like, the future and what that holds, but I'm fine with this being mostly just a film from the past, like just being more a part of the new X-Men continuity than the old one. And I love that little send-off in the end that they give, like, everyone's fine, they're alive, it all works out. And then, wait, how could Jean Grey be alive if she wasn't alive? And okay, not getting into any of that, how the timeline doesn't make any sense because Dark Phoenix had to kill off Jean Grey. I don't know why. But yeah, I think all the characters are done well. Trask, Stryker, all of them, the villains. It's fun to see, like, what makes an X-Men film good to me is that you don't have to have a main villain. It just has to have the idea of the struggle and the conflict. That's what the main villain is. And Trash, paid by Trash. Peter Dinklage in the movie plays his character to perfection. I love it. I think one thing that I don't hate is that little ending where Stryker turns out to be Mystique. I think that was stupid because I don't think the film even acknowledged it in the sequel. Anyways, I love that stuff. I love the scene where like it's just Charles talking to Charles and how that scene helps. This movie just emotes the right emotions for people and just sets the tone for what an X-Men film should be, and that's why it just comes in at number 3. It just does its stuff best while adding in the time travel stuff, and that's just perfect for me. You're not gonna like this, but my last 2 films in process of elimination, you can kind of get what they are. But number 2, Logan. I just think that these films are great. These films are just great. This film is just great. It's like it's made in the style of a western, which I think the director James Mangold does great. You can definitely tell that some of the things that his directing style did for the Wolverine is brought over to this film. It's a great send-off to everything that the franchise has ever meant to us. The journey about heroes trying to escape captivity and trying to find peace is just perfect. It's a hero's journey set down the path of an end. Wolverine, our Lord and Savior, Hugh Jackman, we'll never see him again as the character, and I hope not, because this was a good end, and I don't want them to ruin this by making him be put in the MCU. I'd rather see someone new play him than, something like this. Something like this film be ruined by that, yeah. Deadpool 2 makes fun of it because, yeah, in the R rating, the action is just action-packed. You just, You finally get to see Wolverine in the film that he should be in. Charles's character, they all kind of feel like they hate each other, but in the end, they're just all trying to make sure that everyone's safe and kept alive, but in the end, none of them really do end up that way, because it's an end. It's the ending of all. Yeah, and it just sucks that Dark Phoenix had to ruin it. Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, my number 2, because I think the only reason why this one isn't number 1, actually, I don't really think I can say anything bad about this film. Well, maybe the villain a bit. I think the villain of it being him, I think there's definitely something there that they're trying to tell me, but I don't exactly know exactly what it is that they're trying to tell me because I'm not that smart at analyzing movies. But I definitely think that the only reason why this one didn't come in as my number 1 is because it's a Wolverine movie. It's not an X-Men movie, so I don't want to put it as the number 1 X-Men movie if it's not going to have the X-Men in it. Besides Charles, of course, Charles Xavier. Sorry. But yeah, coming in at my number 1, I definitely have to say, and you're going to be shocked, obviously, it's X-Men First Class. This one tells the characters of Charles and Magneto and Professor X. They tell their origins perfectly. I love the jokes of, like, we think you should be Magneto and you should be Professor X. I love the jokes. I love the young cast of, like, Alex Summers, Jennifer Lawrence's character is great in this film because they don't make her the main focus. Charles having a love connection is great. I love that in this film. Yeah, and I think their storyline about just about the bad mutants wanting to take over the world and then be the Overroyals. It's just, obviously, it's a great plot line to move in with the First Class. It's just a great, soft rebooting of the original franchise, and that's just always fun to me. Kevin Bacon as the villain is great in this. I think the villains are great. Xazel, Tornado Hands guy, I can't even remember his name. Emma Frost. They're just such great villains because they have their motivation and they know what they're doing and they know what they want, and they don't care what they do to get to it. And Charles Xavier, some of his stuff about his mother dying and how he gets revenge and how he becomes the villain is just, it's perfect, it's great. How Charles loses his legs is just, it's great. Beast and their relationship with and his relationship with Mystique is just great. This movie helps set up a lot of things that I hope to see more in X-Men movies in the future. So, yeah. That's my number one, guys. Just not really much I can say bad about the film. I think its setting is also great. The Wolverine cameo is great. The action is quick, cut pace. They did a lot of good with this film, and I want to see what the MCU does to try and, do it like this. So, yeah. Anyways, that's it, guys. Comment down what other rankings I should do, I guess. Thumbs up, thumbs down, or thumbs in the middle, however you roll. And yeah, just comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you all in the next video. So, bye-bye.